Duncan Hemba, KTN News.
All right, so we want to discuss that and so much more here in studio. And we want to also invite you at home to chime in into the conversation. Hashtag is News Center at Bedia Mkialo is my Twitter handle. All right, let me now introduce my panel of guests right now. And I'll start from the extreme right. I have Timothy Rioba. Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
He is an independent candidate going for the senatorial seat in Nyamira County.
Pleasure.
The president was in your backyard yesterday.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what you think about that visit.
No.
We also have Margaret Kerubo sitting at the center. She is a political analyst and also a NASA champion. Thank you very much for joining us. We also have Eric Karu seated right next to me. He's a man looking to deputize Lee Kinyanjui if he clinches the governor's seat come August 8th.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming to the show this morning. So, of course, we'll discuss what we've just watched on the screen, but I'd like to start with you, Eric. Why did Kinudhi Mbogwa choose to step down as an independent candidate? What happened?
Betty, that is a very good question. I think Kinudhi Mbogwa would answer better. Mm-hmm. But the president and the deputy met him at State House Nakuru the day before he stepped down. And they agreed on a number of issues. And one of them, I think, was stepping down. And that is why he stepped down for the sake of the party, Jubilee Party, so that we remain strong. All right. Especially in this particular election.
So was it possible, because the critics were saying, actually he's not even the one who came out to say, I'm stepping down. It's actually the president who came out and announced that.
If he was not the one who said that, I believe he would have corrected that if he was not the one. But I think he agreed and he actually stepped down.
All right. All right, let's talk about the chances that you see you have to clinch this seat. The president was in the backyard just a few days ago. First of all, how was that visit like?
First, I want to appreciate the fact that the president and the deputy chose to start the campaign for the Jubilee Party from in our county. It came in so handy, and it helped us, it boosted the Jubilee Party's chances of clinching the seat come this general election. So it was very good, it was very positive, and the people of Nakuru County were very happy, and they assured the president and this deputy that they will support Jubilee candidates all the way up.
All right. Well, that's six piece we've been talking about, hearing about. Yes. All right, Timothy, let me come to you. And the president was also in Nyamira yesterday. He started in Kisii giving goodies all over the place. What is your impression of his visit, both in Kisii and Nyamira?
It was good. I actually gave more goodies in Nyamira than in Kisii because there were fewer IDPs in Kisii. It was good. The president is interested in those two counties specifically to meet, at the most basic level, to meet the constitutional threshold of having at least 25% in 24 counties. But I know this time he's targeting a bigger target. Maybe he wants to get the two governments. And I think he might do well because the candidates that have been put forth are quite strong, except a few. I think some of us moved to independent for reasons best known to him, and he has not asked us to step down, so he sees potential in us.
It's about who he asks to step down.
I don't know why he asked Kinudhi, but I'm sure it's reasons who are best known to him. I'm sure he wants to retain that Nakuru seat. Okay. But I'm also sure that we'll get majority in Nyamira and in Kisii. And once we do that, then he'll have gotten the majority votes that he wants. If he goes past 50% in Nyamira and Kisii, the better for him. Because last time in 2013, it was quite a mess for him there, both in Kisii and Nyamira.
It's interesting that you say that, Timothy, because back in March this year, 22nd, he was in Kisii, and he did not get the same arousing welcome that we saw a few days ago, 2 days ago. What's different?
There are local politics. There are local politics that normally, influence such events. Yeah? I can tell you, but I don't want to go so local, but I can assure you that the president this time got it right. When he comes there...
With the goodies?
Yeah, with the goodies. At the same time, he should not involve himself in local politics. If he comes there and supports someone specific, then the other camp normally says, there are so many candidates supporting him. There are so many, like PDR candidates are supporting the presidency. Some independent candidates, including me, are supporting him. Some other, I think there are more parties that are supporting the president than the opposition. So when he comes and focuses on a specific candidate, then he gets it wrong. So last time there were politics around localized kind of endorsements that were not good. But this time, I think he got it correct, and that's why he got the rousing welcome. As much as there were a few incidences where they were messy, but this time he got it right.
Okay, Margaret, I'd like to come to you, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about these goodies. I mean, it's been trending, all of a sudden, there's money to give to IDPs. Anne Waiguru, a few, months back, she said that, there were no IDPs. Then all of a sudden there are IDPs. It's a question and a conversation that has been all over the country since Monday. What do you make of these goodies that, are being splashed all over the place, Margaret?
It gets me thinking and worried, and I so believe even so many other youths and Kenyans out there, why now? Why this time? And when you look at what the president gave, especially to the IDPs from the Kisii region, Kisii and Nyamira that is, the amount that he dished out in check divided the number of IDPs we have from the two regions, that is Nyamira and Kisii, comes to a total amount of 50,000 shillings for each. Now the question is, it's way down 10 years. And when we compare to what he gave and what was issued to the communities from the Rift Valley and some parts of Central, you can't compare at all. In fact, there's an uproar. It was a negative score to the president of what he was able to give out.
But the residents seemed to receive it with open arms.
That's an assumption, I can tell you, but for sure. There's an uproar if you look on the social media and all of that. The problem is, what is 50,000? Look at the cost of living today. Under the administration of Jubilee, things have skyrocketed. It's never affordable. What is 1,000? It has no value today. So when you give someone who's been chased away from his home, who's been chased away from where he had invested initially as a farmer, as a businessman, a businesswoman, and now is struggling in rented houses or maybe being hosted by relatives, do not even have what it takes to be able to cater for his family and well-being. And then you giving 50,000, what is that? Is it meant to buy food? Is it meant to pay for the house rent? Is it meant to buy the plot? Actually, to be very sincere, when you're going back to Kisii and Nyamira regions, the cost of land is, if you talk of an eighth, for example, is around to a tune of 100 to 120 thousand shillings that one has to part with. Then what is this 5,000 going to do?
Okay. The other question is, and thank you for that. And Eric, there are also questions about where did this money come from? Already there are very many people out there looking for this money. Nurses are on strike. Doctors have been on strike for such a long time. The question is, where is this money coming from also?
First, maybe I should, maybe there is an impression that Margaret is trying to put across, that the people are given 50,000 shillings each. I believe the government, before they do anything, they have the statistics right, so that they know how much they are giving to each IDPs, so that the money they give should be reasonable enough for the people who are actually living in that part of the world. First of all, we should appreciate that the government has done to give them that money at this point in time when the economy is actually very hard. There's no maize.
But is that enough money?
Well, if you ask me, that money will never be enough. In fact, all this time, even if you're to give each $1 million, it will not be enough. That's what we need to agree, that these monies we are talking about, I think and believe that there was enough statistics done for that particular work. But even in the budget, I think when they read the budget, there was some money set aside for the IDPs. So I think that is where that money is coming from.
All right. Margaret, you want to say something? I'm seeing you nodding negatively.
I acknowledge the fact that he's acknowledging and appreciating that the money is not enough. In fact, he cannot even convince us. The Jubilee administration cannot convince the public what the money can be, of what value the money is to the IDPs, of how is it going to change their lives, what is the impact it has. That's the truth be said. Because when you compare with their counterparts in some parts of Central region, the IDPs I mean, and those in the Rift Valley, the amount of money that they are awarded, talk of 400,000 shillings, talk of a piece of land, and then what happened yesterday, it's quite a frustration.
All right.
In fact, it has kept people thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Timothy?
I think we are getting into the president said, and we don't know what happened. There are always policies that normally guide how our money is distributed. You know, the president cannot wake up and just issue a blanket check just like that. I'm sure 100% there's a policy behind. If you ask the Treasury, there is somewhere this money came from. It's possible that it's some remnant from the budget that was the money that was budgeted for the IDPs. But at the same time, we don't want to say, Margaret, that the 50,000 is the president is done. He didn't say that he's done, and that's not all. And you know, these IDPs that he gave yesterday and the day before were integrated into the community. They were not living in the IDP camps. Some of them had moved into some camps in Nyamira and Kisii, where he stood in Masimba, and then they were integrated into the community. So they are not suffering as much, but at the same time, these people need also a soft landing. What he gave them is not exact. You can't compensate someone what he had done his whole life. People lost a lot. People lost everything in their lives.
All right. So, okay, fine. I want us to continue and put the conversation forward. But will this goodies, I'm sure that we'll see more and more maybe going forward.
Exactly.
It's a campaign season, it's a political season. Will this really change how somebody would vote? Margaret?
They believe it will, but I don't think it will. The question I asked my colleagues, they're supposed to answer me because they are supporters of Jubilee, and as a NASA champion, I want to exactly get it right from them. Are these IDPs from Kisii and Nyamira different from the IDPs from Central Region and from the Rift Valley? They haven't answered that. Number two, this is what he said he did in Kisii and Nyamira, and in fact, it's right there, and the way we have just put it, they are goodies. You see, 10 years down the line, this is the time they are coming in. Why now? What is the interest? In fact, it's not going to change anything. It has worsened it all. Because today, the IDPs are asking, who are we? How are we different from the rest? So the thing is, there's need to push for the agenda for change that can only be achieved through NASA to deliver this country from the mess that it's already in under the Jubilee administration.
All right, Corey, do you think that Kenyans will change the way they're thinking about who they vote for, you know, all these places that the president is going because of these things, these good things that are being given right now?
I believe, Betty, first and foremost, I want to correct the impression my colleague Margaret is trying to portray, that the IDPs in Rift Valley have all been settled. We still have people in the camps in parts of Olenguruoni and parts of Kiptororo sites. Those were people who were displaced actually when our boss in NASA forced the people out of the forest, and they created internally displaced persons in that part of the world. Those people up to now have not been settled, and the government is working on it so that they can see how these people can actually be settled. But about the money, I can assure you it will actually make a lot of changes in the livelihoods of the IDPs themselves. Because if they invest wisely in the best way possible, I think it will change part of their lives. It's not like they have nothing.
Okay, finally on this conversation.
At the same time, you need to look at what the Kisii as a community has been demanding from the presidency. One of the things that they've been listing down is the IDPs, compensation for them. Now, this was a start. It's not the end. The president did not say it's the end, but some things we've been demanding are like, you know, security, IDPs, compensation, and all those things. this was part of it. So these goodies might not do a lot, but they'll change the perception that the Kisii as a community have towards the president, that at least he has come through with at least one promise. So he's going to do others, or he's going to, compensate them more. Yeah?
But it's been 5 years.
Yeah, at the same time, there's always a start to everything.
4 years.
Yeah.
This is for 4 years.
And as I told you, Betty,
it's been a whole term for presidents. That's what I mean.
These IDPs were integrated into the community. So it was very hard sometimes to list them. I know the Ministry of Social Services and they tried, the Devolution Ministry when Uhuru was there, tried a lot to get to these people. So by at least compensating them something, the president didn't say, Margaret, that it's over. He will do it again.
There's no another promise on the table, nothing else. He's dropped it and he's moved on.
Lack of saying that it's over doesn't mean that it's over. Seriously,
but
he didn't say it's over.
But the Kenyans were saying, I mean, he had the whole, time to deal with these promises
But
and
these
issues.
things are budget issues, yeah? You know that you can't just take 7 billion from the government and pay people just like that. There needs to be policy around it. So if this money he got from Treasury was a policy, maybe it was a remnant of what he said from the IDP settlement votes, then the next budget, that's what he needs to focus on. Yep.
All right, we want to let's continue and move the conversation to another front. I think this is an argument that will still continue to hit the headlines. But let's talk about the story that we aired a few moments ago, and it's about a rift in the rift. Mandago coming out strongly, really talking against independent candidates, and of course he's targeting at Buzeki, who has been rumored, we don't know how true it is, to be supported by the deputy, William Ruto. First of all, are things okay, even as President Uhuru Kenyatta heads to Eldoret tomorrow? Eric?
Yes, I've just heard what Mandago said. And even before the elections, that was his song, that Buseki was being funded by Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto. But I want to say this. Buseki, I think, is a man of himself. He has his own means and he has his own money. In fact, Buseki was claiming he actually funded Mandago in his first term of getting to office. That's what he was claiming. I don't know whether that is true or false. But the problem now that comes in is that just because of the friendship, maybe, I don't know whether they are friends, Buseki and William, just because of the friendship that the two have, and the fact that maybe William has not come out clearly and clarifying that these two are not friends or he is not supporting any candidate, then Mandago is actually having a good time to sell that idea to the locals, by the way, and they are buying it.
And isn't it weird that the deputy president has not come out to confront this issue? Because most of the times he does not waste any time in confronting issues head on, especially with people who seem to be going to a different trajectory than his.
That is true. It's not known of him to do that. But if you've seen what has happened throughout the nomination, the deputy president has kept quiet, because he wanted the primaries to be as fair as possible. Of course, it cannot be, you cannot say it's actually very fair to the extent that everyone is very happy. Elections will always, people will always be saying, you stole my vote here on there. But he has tried as much as possible to be away from these guys. The only problem is the guys who are perceived to be his friends could be mentioning his names once here or there. But I believe for the sake of the party, I don't think the deputy would actually be saying, I need this or I need that. He wants people who are actually fronted by the party so that they work with them.
All right, Margaret, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. And the deputy president, really, where he is at right now, Alfred Ketere and Jackson Mandago yesterday said very clearly that if they suspect that, there's any support that is being given to any independent candidates, they will ask their supporters to vote otherwise, other than President Uhuru Kenyatta, obviously directing at the opposition. What is your impression of this?
Okay, Betty, I would like to say this. From the kind of concerns and the issues that are being raised regarding this rift that is already, what is happening in the Rift Valley, and from now where we're talking about Mandago and Buseki, that kind of struggle, it's clearly telling us one thing: something is not right. There's no fairness. in as much as the Deputy President, the Jubilee administration will want to say it's their backyard, it's their stronghold. In fact, the sentiments from these leaders clearly says something is not right. It's like there's some unfair treatment. No wonder they're feeling the heat. No wonder that we are seeing the kind of tension that is simmering around. And these hard comments that they're putting across that they are likely to shift. And indeed they are.
But it's not really proven also, remember.
They're likely to.
Remember, it's not also proven that indeed the deputy is backing Buzeki. It's not really entirely proven that.
True. And because he has not come out to clarify that, from what is being raised, from what is being articulated from these leaders, it can tell you that they are aware. It's only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time. Timothy, let me hear your thoughts on this one. Is Jackson Mandago trying to be the next person to inherit what the deputy president has so far been able to gain from the region?
I don't think so. You know, Buzeki is entitled to vie as an independent candidate. Whatever he wants, Section 85, you know, gives him the right to do anything he wants, to vie and give people of Uasin Gishu the democratic space to choose the leader they want. This is someone who almost hit 100,000 in the primaries. You know, the deputy president will not support anyone directly. I can tell you that. Independent candidates, you saw the other day, we met in Kasarani, and then the following day, Kabogo, who we chose as our leader, was summoned to State House. Yeah? Now, for us to get a big majority and a good turnout in so-called Jubilee strongholds, all candidates have to participate, including independents and even NASA and Jubilee, for us to have a big turnout. Now, you can't support someone who got 120-something thousand votes and leave another one who got almost 100,000. You need that 100,000 for you to get. So I doubt if the deputy or the president will go directly for a specific candidate.
Okay.
But I assure you that Mandago is pulling that card. He has pulled it before. You remember what he did in is it University of Eldoret, some university, yeah? Said a local has to be here or something like that. He has always pulled those cards when he wants something done. I know he's pulling it so that to, whip up emotions among his supporters so that they can vote for him to the last man because they believe that someone is fighting them. Okay. But in real sense, there's no one fighting him. Okay,
I want us to wind up, but very briefly, I want to hear your comments in regards to has the opposition made any inroads in the stronghold that is known as Rift Valley for the Jubilee Party. Remember, over the weekend they were in Nandi. They had, some sort of crowd, and they're really trying to do that. So do you think they've made any inroads, and especially with Isaac Ruto joining NASA?
Yeah, I think time will tell, because I know the opposition has not made any inroads in those sides of the rift. Even this story of Isaac himself, yes, as trying to be a kingpin in one part of the world, I don't think even we will have time to respond to this much later. But you will believe me, the Jubilee Party, the stronghold is still in Rift Valley.
All right, Margaret, as we wind up.
I would like to say that, to be very sincere, it won't be right if you underestimate the strength of having Isaac Ruto as one of the Pentagon principals. And in fact, even from the rally that they had in the Rift Valley the other day, you can even tell, we did not bank on the crowds per se, but they have felt it on the ground. And the Jubilee administration is aware that it's quite a threat. Having moved, Isaac having moved from their camp, now having joined the NASA camp, this is a score. This is a plus for NASA.
Okay, finally. Timothy, your thoughts on this as we wind up?
Isaac is quite a thorn in the flesh. That's the truth. We can't overlook him. If you look at what he did in Nyangores, the by-election, he did a good job. I was in Jubilee, so I'm sympathetic to Jubilee, but I can tell you, Isaac, I come from those areas, so I can tell you Isaac has done a good job. and he might get his seat back. I am not sure. Joyce is also strong, but let's see what turns out. He has some influence towards Narok. He has also some influence towards Kericho. Remember the Kericho by-election? There was a problem with Kanu. You remember those? But still, Jubilee is very strong there. That is the truth.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Just one more word.
Very, very briefly.
For you to know that the opposition is not making any inroads in the Rift, there is one focal MP who has been very close to Isaac. He's called Ngeno, from Murwa Tigir. Where is he? There's one very focal MP in Akuresoi who is supporting CCM, called Zakayo Chiriot. Where is he? You don't see them in those rallies. You don't see them in all because they know the ground is different.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Time, like you mentioned, Eric, time will tell. I have been speaking to Eric Korir, who's the Deputy Governor nominee. He's going to be running together with Lee Kinyanjui. And also we have Margaret Kerubo. She is a political analyst and also a NASA champion. And also we've been having Timothy Rioba, who's running for the Nyamira senatorial position as an independent candidate. Thank you very much for your time. All right, so right now we'll take a break right here on News Center. I can see it's time for us to start our second hour here on the show. So don't go away, we'll be right back. Thank you.